That's bad. But the flesh on her buttocks had been eaten away by 12 years of sofa confinement.
So that's 12 years that she has led to
That's one long.
not left that sofa for.
Yeah, I mean, I can watch Netflix, but that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Large, raw, yellow areas where the skin had disappeared in areas so black it was difficult to discern what they were looking at. Now, you're medically trained, you're a coroner with years of experience, and even he goes, the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
Even he says, difficult to discern what they were looking at.
He hadn't seen nothing like it. And he will probably never see, or hopefully never see anything like that again.
Part of a video taken by the coroner pans over a space behind the sofa and wall. A large wet patch is behind her body, which he believes is urine. D.A. Diaguela said, "You can't say she wasn't in pain." Dr. Bickham revealed that Lacey Ellen died from severe medical neglect, which led to chronic malnutrition, acute starvation, immobility, acute ulcer formation, osteomyelitis, which is a bone infection, which finally led to sepsis. And when you're ready, you've actually got a little bit more there that I didn't take notes on. Go on.
Yeah, so District Attorney Sam had said that she appeared rotten to the bone and appeared to have feces shoved in her face, chest and stomach. And he'd also said, did they want to kill her? I want to say, yeah, they wanted to kill her. That takes some going, right?
Oh, it gets worse. If you can get worse. She had COVID and she died at 6 stone 8 pounds. She had COVID on top of that as well. Coroner said that Lacey died 24 to 48 hours before Sheila called them.
So that means they was either there and aware at that time that their child had passed and stopped breathing in their home, in their presence and in their care, and they just didn't care, or they'd gone away knowing and leaving her with possibly knowing what outcome was going to happen there, because, you know, that neglect, that sense didn't happen in that 24 to 48 hours. That took those 12 years to get there. They knew full well what they was doing.
Oh, no, I disagree. I mean, these trustworthy and hard-working parents said here that she was intellectually sound until the end of her life. So apparently she knew exactly what she was doing. She could take care of herself. She had no issues whatsoever. There was no reason why she shouldn't have been looking after herself. I mean, they hadn't taken her to the doctors.
She wasn't in 2010 when they went to the doctors for their help.
Sheila states that she was alive at 10 p.m. She fell asleep and woke at 2 a.m. to find her dead on the couch. She insists that Lacey refused to move from the couch and that she used it as a toilet. Her parents were not immediately charged on May the 3rd, 4 months after Lacey's death. So they were not immediately charged on May the 3rd, 4 months after Lacey's death. Clay and Sheila were charged with second-degree murder.
Does 4 months not seem extortionately long?
Excessively. Extortionate is slightly different. Excessively.
In the sense of they're in their own home, there's only 3 of them living there and have access to that property. They know what's happening to that woman, that 36-year-old woman, and the police didn't seem to want to take that into account, that their parents was to blame.
Let's put it another way. My neighbour's been dead for 2 days. Don't you think you're going to smell it?
Yes and no. Here in England, our houses are very much together. Over in America, the houses are further apart. We live like houses bang smack. You know, we could knock on the walls to each other.
Yeah, I was just about to say my neighbour farts and I know about it. So, yeah, fair enough.
So the houses are very different there.
Okay.
And
if my neighbour can hear us, this is going to be hilarious.
Yeah, they won't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a rumour And it was only a rumour, because if I remember rightly, I have it jotted down here somewhere, there was a professional, I believe the coroner, that completely said they'd never heard of it. There's a condition called locked-in syndrome.
Yeah, apparently so. Locked-in syndrome.
Was it the parents said that she had locked-in syndrome?
I can't remember if it was the parents.
Let's find out. No, you're quite right. It was unconfirmed reports state Lacey Ellen had locked-in syndrome, which is where all the muscles cease to function, bar those of the eyes. And a different fact, apparently, I'm not medically trained, don't know how true this is, found it on the internet, so it must be fact. The eyes have a different immune system, if you like, to the rest of the body. In that if your body realises you have eyes, it will actually fight against them and see it as a foreign entity, which is scary as hell when you think about it, but could be connected with this whole, the muscles cease to function, bar those of the eyes, which makes you wonder then.
But we have no proof that she had locked-in syndrome.
Oh no, I believe it's crock shit, and I'll go why in a minute, but it does fit in with the people who go into comas, and you get different states of a coma and different states of being out of it, don't you? And some can move their eyes and some can twitch a finger and so on and so forth. It does connect on that level. However, in this case, I think it's just very much the media needing something to latch onto and being, oh, she was on the sofa for a period of years.
I don't know
she
whether
had
the
locked-in
parents have
syndrome.
said it or not.
Yeah, it's drama.
Because we have no... I mean, don't get me wrong, the reports haven't stated, the ones that we've read, haven't stated that either Sheila or Clay had said, hey, she's got locked-in syndrome, and that's our excuse, or...
and if they've not been charged, and they've been bonded, or bailed, if you like...
4 months.
Yeah, then, of course, the media needs an excuse. We've got this body in this horrible state. We need something to report on. We can't just go, yeah, well, accidents happen. You know, she was watching TV, we left her a bit long. It doesn't work like that. They need something, and of course they dramatised it. I think that's where that came from. Sheila was released May the 4th after posting, we're not talking small amount of money here, a $300,000 bail. Clay spent one more night in jail due to a delay. They used a bondsman to put up a percentage, so they paid $72,000 to cover them both. The attorney, Sam D'Arguile, said the trial could start in October. So they had money. Worst comes to the worst, your kid's ill, you've got money. We know, surprisingly, this got me, one of your notes, she has a full set of teeth. 12 years. She's not seen a doctor. She's not seen a dentist in a minimum 12 years. They said 20 years for a doctor. Full set of teeth.
Yeah, one of the reports said she was found with her eyes and her mouth wide open and what looked like a full set of front teeth.
Okay, so maybe it was just a full set of front teeth and not necessarily the rest. It doesn't state. But if you've not seen a dentist in that amount of time...
You know, you've not obviously been taking care of yourself and brushing your teeth. Those teeth deteriorate.
So she's been taking care of herself,
so in a way,
at least in regards to her teeth.
It's a conflicting situation.
Well, if she's taking care of herself, she doesn't have locked-in syndrome. If she's eating, she's moving her jaw, she doesn't have locked-in syndrome.
I think even worse, if the parents were taking care of her teeth, why wasn't they taking care of the rest?
Yeah, and there's the flip side as well. If she doesn't have locked-in syndrome, why is she covered in fleas, bites, blotches, and... Well, putting too fine a point on it, why has she got shit in her hair and her ears?
The top, why was her top? Her blue pattern top, I believe, was uncovering her chest.
When I was a kid, and I know this is totally unrelated, we used to walk around the streets with nothing on our feet. And half the family lived on the same road. And obviously I'm not like this today, but when we were in the house, I had a shirt on that had just come down over me. I was only little. No one cared that people ran around with next to nothing on. So, if she's got to that extent where...
We're talking about a 36-year-old woman, though. We're not talking about a child.
Yeah, but we're talking about a 36-year-old woman who's been sat in her own shit for 12 years. The state of that sofa, she's not going to care about her T-shirt.
So
she's
why
in
was it
pain.
locked up, then?
I don't know. I can't answer that. But she's in pain. I think it's more a case of she's trying to get comfortable. Her legs are crossed because her spine is in such a position that she can just about feel it where it's not hurting. Hopefully it wasn't
I think in that
hurting.
sense of, from a woman reading it, I think it's that defence mechanism. You're trying to defend her. And you're like, why is that top
Yeah,
not in a,
why
you
is she
know,
not
why
covered?
is
To
she
show
not
her some
covered?
dignity.
Yeah.
But what dignity is there in, she was half, we're not talking a little dent in the sofa here, somebody stands up and the sofa springs back into position.
No.
She was within the sofa.
Yeah,
The
it's sunken
sofa was
into a crevice.
50% fluid, bodily fluid.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying? I cut you off.
Literally, that she was found sunken into a crevice in that sofa.
And if you are of the ilk to look up pictures, be warned, you will need to make sure you're not eating anything when you do, because if you are watching it, you won't be eating anything afterwards. It's not a pretty sight. And that's what's going to stick with people, isn't it? Let's be fair. You have the Iceman killer, and you have this one, and you have the Yorkshire Ripper, and you have. She's always going to be the girl in the sofa. People aren't going to say, "Oh, do you remember Lacey Ellen? She was such a kind girl. She was sweet, and she was adorable, and she was this." Because of the scumbag parents, the absolute fucking vile piece of shit parents, and their scumbag lawyer, she is always going to be the girl that's stuck in the sofa covered in shit, and that is absolutely horrible.
It is. And, you know, like many of these cases, as you just said as well, they never remember the victims first. It's always the killers.
Yeah. And let's be honest, how do I advertise the book? And I know exactly why I do it, and I know that I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do it because it gets certain names and certain things, and we're being careful what we say here, but it gets certain names and certain things out there. And I start off with, hey, you know, I'm Tracy Daly, my father killed my mother, because people go, holy shit, what was that? And boom, you've got them.
That's the thing,
And
though,
it's
as well.
disgusting, but it works.
Going forward, whose name are they? You know, not necessarily us, but, you know, the rest of the world. Whose name are they going to remember there? Are they going to remember Lacey Fletcher, or are they going to remember Sheila and Clay?
Well, you know what? I'm going to remember Lacey Fletcher, because she's the one worth remembering. Sam D'Arguile, I'm not going to remember him because I can't pronounce his surname. D.A. Sam. D.A. Sam said, boom, science. D.A. Sam said trial could start in October. The grand jury were shown extensive images so graphic that medics were on standby for 12 panel members.
How bad does it have to be that medics are on standby?
Is this overkill?
For the jury?
Yeah, is this overkill? Because
I don't know how many cases they do that with. That's not something I've looked into.
Unless it's, yeah, that's what I mean. Unless it's involving the child, I can't see.
So maybe someone.
I can't see it affecting me that much, but then we've
give us some advice on that, how it works there.
Yeah, if you're American, if you know the case, if you know the law, and if you know how to do a podcast, send me a link to a decent microphone because I'm using my phone, and also some free audio editing gear, and share us everywhere just because we're awesome, and let us know, in all honesty, jesting aside.
How does it work? Is there always medics on hand for the jury when it's cases like this?
Is there a criteria where you meet that point?
I don't believe we have that here. We never have that here.
Well, you know, like here we have set amounts. If you lose a parent on a certain age, you get a certain amount of money. And if you lose another parent on a different charge, you get a different amount of money. Or if you lose a parent and you're a lot older, you get a different amount of money, the compensation. Maybe it's a similar thing here. If you die and you're decomposing in a sofa, then you get like 2 medics. But if you don't, and you just have your heart ripped out by some arsehole, then maybe you don't get medics. Maybe there's some bullshit fucking level that you have to die on for you to get that sort of support. I don't know, but it grates on me that...
I don't think I'd have liked to have been on that jury.
No, I don't think I'd like to be on any of them because there's so many people that cut corners in a legal capacity.
This one in particular, because of the neglect and the abuse and the pictures. I mean, we've not seen half of the pictures because they were so graphic that they could not put them out there.
Yeah.
The jury have seen those pictures.
And the jury were described as, there was complete silence. Some jurors gasped in horror and some stared in disbelief. Coroner Bingham described it as one long emotional day and said it was hard on him personally. He said evidence-wise she was on the sofa 12 years. It could well have been longer. Outside court, D.A. Sam said, I'm even doing it now, D.A. Sam, that's it, it's easier. D.I. Sam said, "I believe justice has been served here today."